Well, hello there, good people. It's your boy Johny-J, and welcome to another photo adventure. Today we found this. Get a load of it. What an epic waterfall. Let's get it. Wow, so check this out. This is the view from up top. You can already see a shot here, you know, encompassing all this. But as you can see, still got a bright sun. We've got a couple of hours till sunset still, but we have got some beautiful puffies around as well. So I think between the sun going down and softening the light, there's definitely a shot up the top here. But we're gonna head down now and check out what it's like down the bottom. Wow, would you look at this? How's the power of that fall? I don't know if you can even hear me that well. I'm trying to shout over top of the fall, but oh, this is crazy. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to hunt hard for a composition on this side. We've got a bit of a weed over here, and I'm not a big fan of these grasses. They aren't that nice. Maybe down there, a little bit further, might be better. Well, I think there's definitely another angle here, even a vertical. The water is a bit browny, unfortunately, which isn't ideal, but it's okay, I can live with it. But a long exposure, you're gonna get swirls of bubbles down here, which will look absolutely epic. Could you imagine that with a long exposure? So I definitely think there's probably a vertical, if not a wide angle, landscape orientation down here as well. You can see it's absolutely pumping behind me. It's incredible. Power of the water coming off there, it just blows me away. Anyway, we've got our first composition set up. You can see the light is still really harsh at the moment. It's just beaming in right now. But what I am getting, every now and then I get a big cloud blow by, and it acts like a massive big softbox. And it just shades all the scene and softens all the light there at the moment. So here's our composition here. You can see it's looking really, really nice. But we do have the waterfall coming in on the left-hand third, and we've got these bubbles coming around here in the water, which I absolutely love. And we've got the beautiful reflection coming in here as well on the back. So it's looking really good. I do have a polarizer on at the moment, and I also have an ND64, so an ND filter, so I can get that longer exposure. So the trick to this shot's going to be not only waiting for the light, but I feel like I'm probably going to have to take it in maybe 2 different exposure lengths, because I want the water movement with some texture, but I want the foreground movement to be quite circular with the pattern that's making a swirl there. That's going to mean that I'm going to have to shoot 1 length exposure, type of exposure for that foreground, and 1 for the waterfall. The stuff in the foreground is going to need a longer exposure than the waterfall is going to be. And I like to see a bit of texture in my long exposure, particularly waterfalls. So I don't want a too long exposure on the waterfall, but just long enough so I can still get that nice movement, but I still want to see texture. So focus for this one's going to be really easy. Just focusing a third into the scene there. It's really, really easy. You can see my focus point over here. We'll see what happens here. I think it's going to be a really, really nice shot. And the reason why I'm not including any sky and I'm going for quite a tight composition is because the sky is still really, really bright up there, and I just don't want to include it. I just want a nice little detailed shot of the base of the waterfall here. So anyway, let's wait for this next cloud to come, and we'll take the shot. All right, the sun is just about to go behind the clouds up there. Get a look at that, see? Just there's a cloud coming in now to block that sun. So you can see it's just gonna go behind. So this will be our chance when it softens out the light on the waterfall, and we can get our shots done. So what I recommend you do is if you're not sure about what shutter speed is gonna suit the waterfall, because often you don't really know if you haven't shot a lot of waterfalls, especially with this much speed. You'll find a really short shutter speed, it's still gonna be really streaky and soft, the water. So what I recommend you do, if you're unsure, just take a whole heap of shots with a lot of different exposures, okay? and that's going to mean moving your shutter speed up and down and adjusting your ISO to get that exposure right. So look at that sun, it's softening off now. Look, oh, everything's looking beautiful. So let's take our first shot here. I've got 4 seconds, f8, 100 ISO. Let's take our first shot there. 2-second timer. And boom. Oh, I'm loving that. Look at that foreground. I love what it's doing to that foreground there, but it's too much for the waterfall. The waterfall looks too silky to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it down to 2 seconds, and I'm going to bump my ISO up a little bit just to compensate. Just remember, it's okay to be slightly underexposed because that bright water just becomes a massive highlight in your frame. So when you're shooting your frames for the waterfall, you really want to make sure you're underexposed. See, look at that, it's still one solid streak there. So what I want to do is I want to drop that down even more. I'm going to go down to 1 second now, bump that ISO a little bit more. Still about around a stop under at the moment. So let's have a look at that. That's 1 second, still streaky. Okay, so I'm going to drop my shutter speed down even more. I'm going to go to like 1/5 or something like that. And I'm going to bump that ISO a bit more there. Yep, about 1 stop under. That's looking good. All right, let's have a look at our water at 1/5. Oh, that's better. It's getting more texture in it. So I'm not worried about the foreground because I like my 4 seconds, but I'm liking this now. See, it's getting some nice texture there on the waterfall. That's for the money. So I'm really happy with how those shots look in camera. I can't wait to get them back in Lightroom. I think we're done at this location, so let's move on. I think I might go back up the top and shoot that big overview that we saw in the beginning. Well, I'm in and it's really refreshing. Oh, so beautiful. Check this out. Alright, so we're up the top now and we've got a good setup here. I like what I'm seeing here on the back of the camera. It's looking pretty amazing. Sorry for me being backlit. It's the only place I can put this camera. It's such a small little look out here. So yeah, forgive me being backlit like this. But it does make it look sort of like an angel if I can get it over my head like this. Sort of, if I don't look so mongy. Anyway, back to the composition. Let's check it out here. So you can see what we've got. We've got that waterfall over here and then a big river running around the circle, and we've got the sun coming out over there, blasting in at the moment. And probably I'm getting, with the sun hitting now, I'm getting about 1 second shutter speed, and I'm gonna have to underexpose for that sky as well, okay? So this is gonna be quite an interesting shot. Now you will see there is a bit of the guardrail over here, okay? You can see that over there. That's gonna have to be photoshopped out. Unfortunately, you can see how high my tripod is. There's just no way for me to get my camera any closer over the edge and shoot long exposures with stability. So anyway, that's how it's gotta be. But at the moment, you can see we've got some nice light coming in there. I'm gonna hit it actually. While that sun's out, it's kind of nice there. I'm gonna hit the shot there because there's a nice light on the waterfall there. And what we're looking for, the main things is making sure that we're not blowing out too much on our waterfall. And we've still got good detail in our shadows. You can see our shadows aren't clipping. Not worried about that highlight in the waterfall too much. We probably could go down slightly there, drop our shutter speed slightly. Let's go down to about 1/8. Take another shot there. Just focusing a third into the scene. There's nothing close to the front of the lens, so we're all good. Look at that light. How good does that look? Love it. All right, back to our composition. So we'll just take another shot there at 1/8. So that's what we're getting there. Not too bad. If we put our blinkies on, you can see the sky's blinking. We get a little bit of a hot highlight on the waterfall. Maybe I need to wait for another cloud to come through for that sun, or wait to dip a little bit further. But we can play with that. Let's drop our shutter speed down. And what I'm looking for is the right of the histogram there. I want to get a cloud shot. So this will be for my clouds. And you can see that's what we've got for our cloud shot there to blend in, and that's our foreground, clouds, foreground. I think I do need to wait for that sun just to drop a little bit more just to soften off. So we'll hang around and see what happens there. But other than that, I think things are looking really good. I think it's going to be a pretty epic landscape shot. All right, so the sun is dropping now. It's almost going to dip behind the mountains out there. Well, let me show you what I'm looking at. So I've decided to include the sun, include that bit of sky. It's looking really nice. So we've still got our waterfall and the river running through here, but then we've got the sun up here. Something that's interesting, I need to block the sun there. You can see we're getting a bit of a highlight over here from the refraction of the sun in the lens. And if I put my hand up there when I take the shot, so if I do this, ready, steady, 2-second timer on, I'm going to take the shot, and I'll block that and just wait the 2 seconds. And then if I play that back, you'll see that highlight's gone there. So, but I will also need to take another shot for that area where I had my hand to blend that back in, and also take an undershot for the sky, which will be somewhere around there. A little bit of clipping, not worried about it because we've got the sun in the frame. We are getting a nice starburst back there with the sun as well. It looks really, really nice. So don't be afraid to put your hand in the frame and block part of the light that's coming through if you're getting those bright spots or that refraction of the light. How good is this? What an amazing waterfall. What an afternoon. It's just been absolutely epic. Guys, I'll see you back on the computer and we'll run through how I put these ones together. All right, here we are. Here's the 2 raw files from the first composition there. I love this light that's coming in. It's just beautiful there. So that's the shorter shutter speed for the texture in our waterfall. And this is our longer one, obviously, for the texture in the foreground. Now in Photoshop, I've just blended those 2 together there. You can see if I'll turn off these top layers. If I turn this layer on and off here, you can see that's the bits I've blended in. You can see that nice bit of texture in that waterfall. I really thought, you know, this really long exposure like this is too misty for me, as I mentioned. So that's the layers blended together there. And then this is with a heap of dodging and burning that I've done just to shape the light and just create the light how I wanted it. And then I just finished it off in Lightroom here, just with a few color changes. You can see there's the before, after, added a bit more pop to the waterfall there and warmed the light up essentially. And I think that's come up really nicely. All right, for the second shot up the top, you can see here's our 4 raw files too. So that's obviously the hand blocking for the lens flare, which is the word I couldn't find. I kept saying everything else except lens flare, but it's lens flare. So, and you can see this is the one for this area here where my hand was. And then as we go along, you can see here's our shot for our sky basically, and this one is the shot for the brightest part of the sun there, so even further underexposed. And together we formed this one. I couldn't show you in Photoshop, sorry. The layers, it was too many layers. It was just running so slow, so I couldn't record and show, unfortunately. But I just did a few changes around the light up here, and I'm pretty happy how that turned out. Alright, good people, that's it. Another photo adventure done. But what an epic waterfall. Wow, it was just amazing. Look, do me a favor, if you're enjoying these videos, show me some love, share them out on your social medias for me. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, and I'd really appreciate it, and that'll help support my channel. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!